Hi there, today is Thursday. It is August 6, 2020. A lot has gone on today. Unemployment numbers, another 1.2 million filed new unemployment. Also, stock market up 185 points. Again, yesterday it was up 278 points. What is going on in this world? So disconnected from the real economy. Millions of Americans are turning to credit cards. They're turning to credit cards because they can't afford their basic needs. This one family pays $1,950 a month for rent. A young girl who lives with her mother and two brothers in a two-bedroom apartment. She lost her job as in the service industry, working at a restaurant. She realizes now that she can no longer pay that money. Renters are underwater. By mid-June, more than 116,000 people, a figure equal to nearly 1 in every 6 people who live in Washington, D.C., had filed for unemployment. Without the income from work or unemployment insurance, 5.4 million Americans will run out of money to pay things like rent, auto payments, credit cards, health insurance, food, and clothing by the end of this month, by the end of August. Another 9.2 Americans will face the same fate by the end of September. That is 14 million more people, additional people, because that's not including all the millions of people that are already unable to pay for their expenses. I mean, the other day, it was evening, I was driving down my street and I counted outside somebody's house. There were 9 cars, and across the street there were 5 cars. I mean, people are moving in with people at this point because they can no longer afford to live on their own, right? And it might be, a husband and a wife moving in with another, friends or brothers or sisters, and you have their kids, or maybe it's, 9 cars outside of one house. This is a serious, serious problem. It says the near-term economic situation is quite dire, since most workers will continue receiving their unemployment insurance up until December 31st. 44% of unemployment recipients are set to receive less than $800 a month. Less than $800 a month. American expenses, though, are more rigid. And 75% of laid off and furloughed workers spend $750 more a month on basic expenses. And unemployment insurance hasn't disincentivized workers from re-entering the job market. There are no jobs, folks. There are no jobs. It's also important to realize that the layoffs haven't stopped. There's many more coming. I mean, 20 weeks, 50 million people. Sure, some of the jobs came back. They're not coming back, or those businesses are going to close, or they're going to revert back. Gyms are open now. Gyms might not be open. You saw that restaurants were closed and restaurants have reopened, but it doesn't mean restaurants are booming again. I mean, how long can a business run in the red? As the virus spreads, employers are still shrinking their workforce, and many more Americans will lose their jobs. You have SNAP. SNAP is the government benefit that helps people eat in America, right? It helps families who are low income. It gives them some credits towards food so they can feed their families, but there are stipulations that come along with it. It is so confusing now, and the program requires that you work 20 hours a week, and you have to be low income to get them. 20 hours. People can't work 20 hours a week now because there are no jobs. So without that lifeline of food and a job, people are going hungry. It's canceled. If you don't work 20 hours a week, you lose your SNAP benefits. This is talking about a woman who's going to university for her master's degree. She works 20 hours a week. She goes to school full time, and she's on SNAP benefits so she can eat. This woman lost her benefits 2 months ago, and in order to get them reinstated, she had to set up multiple meetings and phone calls with the state, which included taking public transportation in the middle of a pandemic, waiting outside the office that was only admitting one person in at a time, and even in the midst of the pandemic, those restrictions still apply. Snap, folks. Welcome to the new America. Okay, another problem that's affecting the poor. 14 million unbanked Americans in a cashless society, right? We're not using cash in the time of the pandemic because of contamination. They want everything to be seamless and straightforward. 14 million Americans do not have bank accounts. How do you manage that? I mean, we're already having a coin shortage. My daughter lives in Philadelphia. She sent me a message. Can you mail me quarters? I have no quarters to do my laundry. I mean, really? I'm in Massachusetts. You're in Philadelphia? You have no quarters in all of Philadelphia? There's a coin shortage. And if you have cash, you can't spend it today. I mean, it's out of an abundance of caution. Stores have stopped accepting cash. So if you have a debit or credit card, it's easy for you to go to the supermarket or the pharmacy or wherever you have to go and buy whatever you need. You can use it. You can do Google Pay, Apple Pay, whatever, Venmo. But if you don't have a bank account, you don't have a credit card, you don't have a debit card, and you don't even have Cash App or Venmo or PayPal or any of those other things. I mean, they all rely to be connected with a bank account. So how do these 14 million Americans get around that? I mean, a lot of people get paid cash or get paid a check, and they go to the check cashing place that takes like a large chunk of your salary just to give you cash. I mean, it says here 3% of whites are unbanked, 17% black, and 14% Hispanic do not have bank accounts. You have to pay more fees to pay for the reloading of cash on these cards, and low-income people already find it expensive to live. So a lot of these retailers have shut out some consumers by going cashless. Anyway, we have some news on Congress and what they're going to do, or what they're not going to do. What they're not going to do, or what they're doing, is avoiding one another. They are not coming up to an agreement. The Democrats want $600 a week until unemployment numbers start coming down. It's not even a set time frame. They want an extra $600 unemployment. Who's not working? The Republicans want $200 to $400, and then having a slide down based on previous earnings, which is almost impossible to do. And then you have independent contractors and gig workers, which would make it incredibly hard to determine how much money they were making. Democrats affirm they want $600. The economists out there, they say that it should be somewhere between $400 and $600. The Democrats are not moving on this. Republicans are not moving. Mark Meadows says he's going to quit if this doesn't come to a resolution tomorrow. Recess is supposed to happen. Congress and the Senate are supposed to go on recess starting tomorrow. That is not going to happen because that would be suicide, just political suicide for them to leave millions and millions of Americans hanging. I guess the Republicans and the Senate are trying to come up, let's get something done, let's give $500 billion to the states. Not sure, that everyone is scrambling. They are trying to come to some kind of agreement and give some concessions into the Democrats. But the Democrats are really fighting for that $600 per person until unemployment levels go below 6%. I mean, right now they're almost at 20%, so that would be for quite a long time. We don't know. It's a wait and see. Tomorrow is Friday, and there is no bill. I know there's the CARES Act, and there's the HEALS, and there's the HEROES, but those bills none of them are active. None of them might even go through. We're just working on an agreement right now, and they can't even seem to agree. So that's where we are with Congress. Evictions are happening. Credit cards, people are losing their credit. They're using credit cards to live. You know, what's going to happen? The dollar keeps, it's worth less and less every day. The inflation is kicking in. I'm worried about the deficit also. We are surpassing debt to GDP, where the U.S. bond rating can go below AAA. I don't know what would happen then. I mean, I just don't want us to head towards Venezuela. But listen, if you're holding dollars and you have the money to buy some gold or silver, I would suggest you do. I mean, it's holding a physical commodity is a lot better than holding a debt note, because that's all a dollar bill is. I mean, we've seen that there's no change. What happens when you can't get bills from the bank? What happens when they limit the amount of cash people can carry or hold on to? I mean, the banks are very insolvent right now, too, and that's another thing to worry about. So listen, SD Bullion, JD Bullion, there's a whole bunch, your local pawn shop, wherever you can go. I'd pick up some gold. I'd pick up some silver. I think the price of gold and silver are going way up. Anyway, a lot more to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about sports and the money and the jobs that can, be lost without the revenue from there. And we ain't seen anything yet. All right, keep your chin up. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button.